Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is newspaper review.
All right, we got Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja with us for newspaper.
How do you pronounce that name now?
That's we have been instructed to pronounce it.
She took her time, and she's called 101 over 100.
Oh my goodness!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Demola.
Good morning.
In spite of the fact that it was raining caterpillars and bulldozers, I thank God I'm able to get here in one.
Honestly, your effort.
You tried.
Your effort should be commended, honestly.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what the papers have this morning. We'll begin with the leadership, and the lead story here says 1 year after, food insecurity persists despite state of emergency. The rider, FOA, projects 31.5 million Nigerians at risk of acute hunger. Stakeholders call for more aggressive approach. All right, away from that, tenure elongation, uncertainty over police leadership. Page 7 has that. And on page 24, some political stories are beginning to creep in, as we plan for 2027. And this one here says, I'm not contesting for president in 2027, according to Ganduje. Below that, don't blame leaders, IBB tells Nigerians, and that's on page 6. Tinubu leaves for France today on work stay. Work stay. That's on page 7. Debt toll in Benue. Attack hits 75. Above the masthead, we have Constitution not Nigeria's problem, according to Sule Lamido. That's on page 24. You want to find out what Nigeria's problem is, page 24 will guide you. On page 19, you can read up on Mosun fall to Tomi over claims on presidential jet seizure. All right, the last has not been heard on that, and of course, so many stories here and there. Let's see what the blueprint has this morning. The blueprint, of course, leads with the price of foodstuff in the market. It's about what the stomach is saying this morning. And it says market survey reveals prices of tomatoes, pepper, potatoes crash in FCT, Yobe, Borno, Adamawa. The riders, rice, beans, yam, maize, millet still high. Traders greedy. Insincere, says farmers. All right, let's look away from that now. Of course, the NNPC are still in a storm. We are not owing foreign traders $6.8 billion. NNPCL clarifies. And below the picture story, tension, discordant tunes, great planned tenure extension of IGP. Okay, the riders. With presidential assent to the bill, Ekwetoko is qualified, according to lawyer. No, it will halt career advancement in police force. All of that, you want to find out what's going on. And then we have blood-stained Sokoto Emir begs for rescue from bandits in video. That's on page 9, the security concern there. I have no presidential ambition. Of course, Ganduje is still speaking right here on the front page of the blueprint. I received threats over efforts to improve power sector. Okay, who threatens the power minister? You want to find out. Page 7 is here. Nigerian banks scramble to meet CBN's capital requirements deadline. That's on page 22. And finally, this morning, from the front page of the blueprint, we have Omokri. Blast Obi says security getting better under Tinubu.
All right. Thank you, Ere. I have the Nigerian Pilot newspaper with me, and starting with the NDLA recovers 6.2 billion codeine consignment at Onne Port. Details can be found on page 5. Police vigilante group rescued 20 kidnapped victims in Kwara. Details of that story can be found on page 5. And the major headline reads, Probe, Judgment Day for 27 judges. The NJC probes 27 judges over alleged judicial misconduct. Council considered complaints on 22 petitions against 27 judicial officers, set up 4 committees to investigate allegations in petitions found meritorious. and says 18 petitions were discountenanced for lacking in merit. Details of the story can be found on page 4. NDDC affirms imperativeness of fiscal responsibility for public servants. Details can be found on page 5. Then we have Plateau State to hold special prayers for spiritual healing of the land. Governor Alia to mitigate child trafficking through quality education health care. Details on page 9. Over 10,000 Ebonyi constituents to benefit from Senator Eze's free medical outreach. Details 7. And give account of running National Assembly or face legal action. Serap to Akpabio and Abbas. Details on page 5. And the $1 trillion economy, SEC rolls out initiative to attract new listings. Details of that story is on page 21. Chooks.
This Serap, you keep hearing, deadlines from them and all that. Do they really succeed as much as the media, Anyway, who was it? Sule Lamido saying that constitution is not Nigeria's problem. I think Nigerians could agree on how to reallocate geopolitical realities in this country in a way that governance could be better, personal opinion. But after that, I tend to throw in with him, I think a loss of integrity, rising clannishness, tribalism. Another man head Nagarawa, those are some of the things that really plague this country. You don't hear newspapers glibly, eloquently, succinctly put it out there, he was a detribalized Nigerian. We made a point of making that point way back in time because it mattered who didn't run into the tribal cocoon and all that in the effort to make sure that Nigeria keeps growing, in leaps and bounds. So constitution may not really be the problem in this country. It is that men lost honor and integrity. And now everyone is, being petty about national life. Actually, that issue has been discussed many times on Good Morning Nigeria. Okay. It's not the constitution, but it's the people. It's our attitude. It's the people, actually, that is the problem, not the constitution. Demola does not matter as long as Chukudi rise roughshod on the rest of the world. Even if you read the constitution today, and you still have the same mindset, you're still going to have the same result. Exactly. So, it's not about the constitution. If the wine is bad, the bottle, as crisp and new as it is not going to make the wine better. No. I think this is an investigative story, so there's no attribution, that's what we call it, about Egbetoku. He should be due by September 4th. Okay, the extension of his... tenure elongation. Somebody I think they said the bill has been passed. It's just left for the president to assent to it. It's okay. So they're waiting for the president I think it's Tom in a teacup. If the man is good enough, I did a story where... the controversy actually is whether, when the bill is assented to, whether he should benefit from it or not. Okay. Some are saying that it's legible. It should benefit from it. Fine, if it's eligible. Some others are fighting it. If it's eligible, we'll get to know. If it's not, somebody could go to court and shoot it down. But the point I wanted to make is that we waste too much time on individualizing matters. Who is it? Paul Njepome, one of the models of integrity we had in the program, said he actually was asked, the Surveyor General then of Nigeria, he was requested by the president to please stay one more year so that he could raise people who could be like him. Please, I'm not lauding him. I'm just saying that you could look at Demola and say, oh, yes, he has served NTA for the number of years required, or he has attained 60 years, but we're going to want to give him special concession. No. No, that should not be the way to go. In a country where a lot of people are unemployed, in a country where the civil service, in terms of, moving up the ladder, it takes a whole process and it takes a lot of time. I think that those who have served their term, should give opportunity for those who are much younger.
if you say build capacity, at the point wherever whoever is leading, you're the leader or the top of the organization, you should be training a successor, because you see, in the civil service, for example, maybe the person next to you has just maybe 6 months to go before he or she retires. So if you stay an extra year, you deprive the person of getting an opportunity to be in that position and also deliver his or her own quota. So I think that considering the number of people who are unemployed, considering the number of people who are in the civil service and the slow pace at which people move, I mean, when you're done with your term, let the next person, show his or her capacity. There's no need for extension whatsoever.
Your impatience is understandable, given the fact that millions and millions of people are unemployed. But life will continue to be like that for some human beings seen as shooting stars.
There are exceptions.
Nobody's going to do anything about it. Some people are exceptional.
There are exceptions.
Oh, there are
so
people.
You should just understand that.
Exactly.
Well, I think exceptionals should also train exceptionals.
No.
If you are exceptional in your field, you should look at the number of years you get to stay. 35 years, 60 years if it's age. That's a long time.
You have not really said anything that we have not thought about, because I'm one of those who say, Paul Kagame, whatever you did about Hutu, Tutsi, whatever, and it is time for you to go. He just got another. So I think like that. Succession in Africa is a sorry story. But I still say there are people you meet in the world you want to make a case for, and it will keep happening. It's not about our opinion, really. So the point is, let it become the exception, not the rule. That's the point. Food security, did you see the one about tomatoes and pepper?
Yes, I read it actually.
Pepper and tomatoes.
Yes,
I think they've crashed, really.
Yes, it's heartwarming, but the challenge that we're having now is the sellers, the traders, whether they will actually bring down the prices.
You're talking about Kingsley Sadolo's vampire cartels. He dropped that one and ran away.
Yeah,
I keep on quoting him. The vampire cartels in the market. They will not let Nigeria move forward.
I'm not trying to make case for the sellers.
Yeah.
But that's where the problem is.
Despite the fact that we're in harvest season and you expect prices of things to go up, you ask yourself, has the price of cement gone down? Has the price of transportation gone down? Has the price of housing gone down? Is there a reduction? The price of the medications in the pharmacy, have they gone down? These are all factors.
I agree.
It's harvest season, yes, but the person who sells pepper or tomato would have to buy other things. And rice is still at 80-something or 90-something, whatever.
Yeah.
And still has to pay huge house rent. The school fees will go up by September. All of that is going to get all that money to do other things from that pepper or tomato he or she is selling. So if she sells, say, because, it's harvest season and then we now go, I'm not making a case for them. I'm just trying to say that it's something that should go round. All right? If the price of cement goes down and maybe house rent that used to be 100,000 now goes to 80,000, of course, the person who sells tomato for 10 naira may want to sell for 7 naira because at least he can still meet his or her other needs.
Yes.
So that's the issue.
You have to resort to economists.
You can't leave farmers or traders to now remain in penury because what they sell is in season or out of season or whatever.
Not just penury, total penury. Now, is the economics of it we're really talking about? Price, I think in the MBA class, when I dropped price is the meeting point of demand and supply, Professor now practically lauded me and all that. I'm not sure that I did very well in that course at the end of the day. But the point we're making is economics dictates what happens. The supply of tomato and pepper at this point will crash too much. Otherwise, you're going to take perishables home. So it's not really about it. But she made a point.
It will crash, but it can never be as it's supposed to be. All right? No matter how much the price of tomato crashes, it can never be comparable with what it was as of last year by this time.
Okay, last year maybe.
Do you understand? So the thing is, other factors will come into it, because if you're saying, okay, it will crash here because of perishables and all of that, consider the fact that the person is paying more for transportation at the moment compared to what it was paid last year.
Yes.
So you do not sell because your things are going to perish and then you now go home bankrupt.
What you've said is that however good an economy is, inflation will always happen. I received 250 naira as a graduate in Bendel Broadcasting Service in those days. No graduate receives that anymore. So salaries would always go up in all countries. That will happen, But at the end of the day, we should be happy. Because what did conscience call it? There's been a container of tomato. I bought it for 15,000 about 3 months ago. It's about 5,000 now, or even 4-5. So
it used to be 1,000 naira, 1,005.
the inflation has dealt with it. It will never go back to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the point of it.
So that's my point. But anyways, let's look at this. President Tinubu travels to France today.
Yes.
You know, he will embark on a trip to France today, August 19, departing Abuja, the nation's capital. He's expected to return to the country after his brief work stay in France. That's according to a press statement that has been released. So, of course, we wish our president well, and as he walks from France, we hope that the nation moves smoothly.
Yes. Yeah, no. A good leader would always make sure that even if he steps out for 1 month, things would always go according to plan. That's why you have a constitution. That's why you have, a deputy and all that, So let's pray that things work out. Quickly, before we leave, this FAO actually projected this 21.5 million Nigerians likely to be at the risk of acute hunger more than 8 months ago. They had projected that because of the insecurity, the banditry, all that happening, they had already said it would happen. Now, what I think about is it not possible, was it not possible like a month ago to launch what we could call the beans initiative? Since beans is so easy to cultivate, they will be planting from next week, or some have even started. Was it not possible to engage in massive planting of beans, whatever agencies you use, whatever people you contract to do it, so that we can in the immediate, within 3 months of harvest, that it becomes due, actually do something to this? A task force arrangement could solve some of Nigeria's problems if you erect the right structures to get that to happen. Yeah. I've been thinking about...
But what about the challenges that they raised, so the security challenges and all that? I mean, except those ones are tackled, then before you can have the results.
I agree. It's unfortunate what is happening to our brothers and sisters in the north. But to save Nigeria, if a geographical part of it cannot do the best it can it should in agriculture, take it to some other parts, but let that happen. For instance, beans grows from Kogi, the north central area into the far north. It could still have been done. And the truth is that Niger and Kogi only can plant enough food to feed Nigeria and go, particularly grain, and even send certain things abroad.
I think Niger has embarked on the massive planting.
That's it.
So, with the launch of the agricultural season.
That's a good one.
The president was there, and a lot lot of things was.
I'm sorry, I missed that one. So somebody's already thinking like that.
Yes, I think they've started.
Because many people in Nigeria are hungry at the moment.
All right, because of time we're about to go, of course, we must continue to call for the release of the abducted medical students.
My sister.
Very, very, sad story. 20 medical students still in captivity. We just hope that they get back safe and sound.
Who was the politician saying that insecurity worsened and somebody said that?
Yes.
I don't think insecurity worsened or worsened under Tinubu, but we still are not out of the woods. A lot still needs to be done. Yes.
All right. And then what do you think about people threatening the powerful power minister in his bids to improve power supply?
Powerful power supply.
What do you mean powerful power supply?
No, I mean,
power supply,
if you're in charge of the power sector, of course you should be powerful.
Power supply is almost like our performance in sports. Okay? It's like our performance in sports. So, I don't know. Ernest Okonkwo in those days, she doesn't know him, would tell us it's a ding-dong affair, when neither side is, making a real progress on the pitch. So power supply, and
I think
sports
there's
in
an
Nigeria,
improvement right now.
they are a ding-dong affair. There's an improvement.
There is a
So
massive
Nigerians, of course, are asking those threatening the power minister to please stop threatening him, just so we can continue to have stable power.
It's a systemic thing. Nigerians know why power is not steady in this country. Attitude again. Somebody is sabotaging something somewhere.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So thank you very much, Chooks.
Thank you.
All right, we now draw the curtain on newspaper review for this morning. So hope to see you tomorrow. But before we go, did you watch the matches yesterday?
Well, I would always watch Arsenal. In the place of Super Eagles, I watch Arsenal, and I want to say that the pounding we gave Wolves was quite proof of the fact that we are ready, even readier this time around. Arsenal will beat Man City by 7 points at the end of the season. Yes.
What did you say?
Arsenal will beat Man City by 7 points at the end of the season. And when it happens, and you keep
to win the trophy, is that what you mean?
Chukudi here, I will ask.
Is that your prophecy that Arsenal would win the league this season?
Oh, it has happened already.
Oh no!
Please, when you begin to call me Prophet Chukudi, and the commercial department charges you for, you know advertising me.
This is not the first time they are starting so well.
Yes.
They start so well, but they end badly. That's just the sad thing about it.
I always have an answer for people like you.
They always start.
2
seasons ago, they started well.
Yes.
And they lost at the end of the day. Last season, the same thing happened.
Arsenal did not lose to Man City 2 seasons ago.
No, listen.
Wait.
They lost to who?
They didn't lose to Man City.
But they lost. They
lost to inexperience.
Oh, no.
A team you put together 3 years ago, you wanted to beat Man City you do know the institution Man City.
You're always coming up with excuses.
No, not excuses. I said they lost to inexperience. The team was put together 3 years ago.
Okay, what happened last season?
I try to be scientific about these things.
What happened last season?
Last season, 2 seasons ago, Arsenal was beaten by Man City by 15 or 16 points and by goals and 5 points. The season that just ended, what did Arsenal do? They had equal number of goals, and the Man City beat them by what? What do you call that? Is it not progress mathematically?
Chukudi, I do not know so much about football, but with the prediction that you just gave, I would advise you not to venture into opening a church. I do not think that you would flourish in that.
Is that a red card?
This one is problem for me from the village. In the shape of a...
Is that a red card? Chooks.
I don't think it will flourish. Look at the finality of her in her tone. But if we still have time, what about the other teams? How are they doing? Let's not be so Arsenal,
I'm not talking about Chelsea for now, because right now we don't have strikers. So that's our...
What about the one they said had taken over from Drogba? Is it Nicola? What is his name?
Who?
The lanky guy. They said Drogba is reincarnated.
Oh no,
Drogba
he has left long ago.
No, there's a guy that strikes for you now. They said he was going to be like Drogba. What is his name now? Jackson. Come on. What about him? I thought you guys said he had effectively taken over from Drogba.
No. We didn't.
Chelsea would always have stories to tell.
We didn't say that.
They ran and took Modric.
Modric
from Arsenal before we could buy. And now he's a liability.
No.
If he had come to Arsenal, he would do a lot better than he's doing now. They call it nemesis.
All right, let's leave sports. Let's leave sports, please. Let's talk about...
Give us something else.
2027.
Yes.
Have you been seeing the posters of different...
I actually had to work on a documentary.
That's what they call
somebody
distraction.
was talking about 2027. Nigerians are always free to do what they want to do. You are free to engage in anything that is not illegal. No problem about that. But the point is, what are we doing to governance while 2027 is being contemplated? After elections, governance must take over, and politicians must take that phase very important.
Well, after this discussion, newspaper, then the real discussion that we have today must also take over. Chooks?
Thank you.
Thank you. So we want to take over now.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now take a break. Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.